So we're back here at the studio. We are getting ready here. This is part 2. Part 1 is going up now. So we still got a lot of things to talk about here. Here about the BSN Network. So today we are going to talk about right now we are going to talk about the Hall of Fame voting. We all know that it happened tonight. At least I know, and that you know now. Yes, the Hall of Fame voting happened tonight at 6 p.m. It's weird. I feel like this year it wasn't like that big. I feel like it was just weird. Like no one really talked up to it. It was just weird. It was weird how it happened this year. So Hall of Fame adds 4 new members: Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, Vladimir Guerrero, I think, Trevor Hoffman is the other guy. So those are the 4 finalists. Number 1 was the first round battle. I think was Chipper Jones. Is what I heard about when I was watching it. When I was watching a little thing, they picked the guy. The guy said Chipper Jones is number 1. So so Chipper Jones is a very good player, and all of these players are very good. A very accomplishment for every player here who made it. I think these players deserve to be here at this moment. All of them did very well in their careers, and that's what resulted them to now be in the Hall of Fame. It's a big accomplishment for them. Congrats on that big accomplishment, by the way. I think it takes a lot of grit to make the Hall of Fame. It takes a lot of hard work, power, toughness, things like that to make the Hall of Fame. And that's why it's so hard. It's one of the hardest things to make is the Hall of Fame. Especially in not in baseball, football. Football is one of the hardest sports. So is baseball. Is one of the hardest. Every sport is hard to make the Hall of Fame. Football is hard because you got to you're getting bumped around every play. Something's going on every play. You're getting hit from every side every play. You're getting this is why for players to stay around for this amount of time and make the Hall of Fame is very good. That's why football is hard. And so is hockey. Hockey's hard because you're getting hit around. You got to have a long career, and it's got to be hard because you're getting sore as you get older and older. You get hit even more and things like that. And then also NBA very hard. It's just NBA's hard just because you got to. NBA, you got 82 games a year. It's NBA's like MLB. You got a game almost every day. Your off day is like one day, and then you get back to the game. It's tough. It's grid. 82 games a year is tough, plus playoffs. And for the baseball, you got 162 games in a year. Your really only week break is that All-Star game break, which is in July, right when you've already played 50% of your games, so that's a lot. You got a game like every day. Really, your only off days when you're traveling someplace or you're just you're practicing. Every day's baseball. That's why it's tough to have a family when you're in these sports. Is because you never see them. You might see them at the game, but you never you can't go out with them. You can't do anything. Maybe after the games, but that's really the only time you see your family. That's why it's tough to have a family at this age. Not this age, but it's tough to have a family at that time. Try to be together. It's tough because you're always on the road, and even if you're not on the road, your family could be back in California. You could be playing in New York. You could be playing in Seattle, someplace else instead of where your family is. So even when you're home, it still is not really home. That's one thing to think about too. When you're home in baseball, any sport, when you're home in baseball or any sport, when you're home in a sport, it doesn't really feel like you're home. You're home, but you're not. Because really, where you grew up and you live in the off season is really might not be where you play your sport. So let's just say you play in New York, for instance, and you really live in California, and your home stadium is in New York. That's really not your home. Your home really is in California, which is also another thing. You're away from home. And so yeah, it's obviously tough. It's grit to make the Hall of Fame, and I give it up to these 4 players to making it. I can't wait to next year if Mariano Rivera makes it and if Derek Jeter makes it the following year, 2020. Congrats to all of them. And I just made that big speech and things like that about how tough it is, and it's going to show you how tough it is. But one player out of all of them stands out to me, and it is Chipper Jones. And I don't know why, but he just stands out to me the most. And I'm going to read some stats why I think that. He's just very good. He was always a good player. He was always pretty humble. I mean, he beat up the Mets, which is one of the greatest things you could have happen is he beat up the Mets. He hit all over them. Mets fans hate him, actually. At least that's what a true Mets fan should be, is hating Chipper Jones, because he hit all over them. It's the best. He hits all over the Mets because I hate the Mets, and the Mets stink. So obviously here, Chipper Jones, he just stands out to me out of all of them, and they all stand out to me. But one that stands out to me just a little bit more than the others is Chipper Jones. Some odd reason, I just don't know why. He's just always been a player who when you want him to come up in a big spot, he'll bomb a homer. He won't get you a little single, he'll hit you a homer. Which obviously don't need home runs all the time. I mean, he had 468 home runs in his career, which is quite a lot, I'll tell you that. For the 468 home runs is a lot. He was very good, and he played for a team that he made the Braves good. When he pretty much left, the Braves haven't been the Braves ever since, pretty much. Yeah. He really hasn't been the Braves, and 2012 was his last game, so he pretty early into the Hall of Fame, and we'll get into that tomorrow about another player should he make the Hall of Fame, but he's been pretty early, pretty early. He's 2012, so what is it? 2018, so he's been only out for like 6 years usually. He deserves to be in it. I really am glad that he's in it. So yeah, and he's one of the players, I don't know why, he just stands out to me. I think mentally, physically, he's just a little bit higher than the other players. Not saying the other players aren't good, the other players are amazing, let me tell you something like that. Let me tell you that. They're amazing, just Chipper Jones stands out to me more than the other players. So Chipper Jones, MLB career stats. It's 303 average, which really is very good. 303 average, that's tough. That's another thing. It's tough to keep up your average. When you're 162 games in a year, it's tough to be hot every game. It's tough to be showing up every game, prepared, doing everything right. It's tough. And you're showing up at the stadium. Some players showing up at the stadium 4 or 5 hours early. By the time the game starts, it's like, oh, we gotta still play a 3-hour game. Some players are at the stadium for like 11 hours. That's pretty much your whole day. That's another tough thing about in MLB and in any other sport. Home runs, 468, like I pointed out before. 1,623 RBIs, 150 stolen bases, and an OPS of 930. That's very good. So those stats are very, very good. That's why they stand out to me. Those stats just stand out to me more than the others. Congrats to Chipper. Congrats to all the other inductees, and that's good that he made it. Definitely, those stats show. That 303 batting average. It's tough to maintain a batting average like this. It's tough to maintain anything in sports. Sports, you can't be hot all the time. You can't be the best all the time. You can't be number one. You can't every game you can't expect to hit 3 bombs or 3 home runs. Every game you can't expect to hit the cycle. Every game you can't expect to make the winning play, make the winning hit, and that's why it's very tough to maintain that batting average at 303. Which is another thing that really stands out to me than what the others. His batting average is very good. Another thing that stands out to me, first overall. So, he had the most votes. So that's another big thing. Hell yeah, that's what I got for the Hall of Fame. Once again, I know I've said it already like 4 or 5 times, but congrats to all of those who made it. You deserve to be there. I'm glad you made it because, it's always an accomplishment to make the Hall of Fame. So yeah. Anyway, so when we come back, we are going to talk about Baker Mayfield already showing up late to something when we come back at the BSN Network. So we're back here for the BSN Network. So now we move on to Baker Mayfield here. Baker Mayfield already starting somewhat of, not really trouble, but already starting some kind of things that might be, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but things that are already starting to get people heated up about him and how he will do in the NFL draft, and if he will, do what people expect him to do. And a lot of people, and I agree with this too. It's not that I think he'll go to parties and all that and get drunk every night, but it's meaning for Johnny Manziel. I don't think that, but I feel like he's almost gonna be like a Johnny Manziel. Because Johnny Manziel was very cocky, he was very chatty, which is good for a quarterback, but it was not the quarterback chatty one. It was very oh, I'm the best, blah, 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 blah. Sure enough, what did he do? He ends up in the CFL, Canada Football League. No offense to Canada Football League, but nothing like the NFL. And when you get a chance to make the NFL after a college career, and they're exactly the same. They had great college careers, and they are Baker Mayfield's already starting to make a bad name for himself. No, he hasn't even, the draft hadn't even came up, and I have to admit, it's one thing. No, probably people are going to forget about this by a week from now, but it's just one thing to look back on, and one thing to know that a lot of people expected him to be Johnny Manziel. Everybody now is calling him the bad boy. So what happened was, what went down is he was supposedly late for some of the activities and stuff they're doing for this Senior Bowl, I think they call it, or something like that. He was late. I guess he was late for some of them. He said he had some family issues. Someone in his family was sick. This is the one thing I have to say, and they don't ask him this, and I know it's good not to ask this because you got to give him a little privacy. When you think something's iffy, something's doesn't seem right, you got to go ask him who was it, what family member. That does not, it's not it's kind of nosy, but it's on one hand though, it's kind of it shows that are you lying or are you being true? Because everybody says that. Everybody, whenever they're late for something, they always say, oh, I got family at home or doing something. That's what Muhammad Wilkerson said. He has his kids or something was going on and something like that and blah, 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 so on. But I feel like that's every player's excuse. That's why they got to think of something, better than that. Because I think everybody knows when you say that, Not saying in any means no one in his family was like sick or something. I don't know. He just said family problems, so that's why he was late. This is the thing about major sports. You cannot be late for anything. You cannot be. You're late, you're kicked off the team. You cannot be late for anything. It's just how sports these days are. I don't know why. Let's just say you're 1 second late, oh, you're kicked off the team. No, I'm joking, but you are going to face consequences. I guess he was like an hour late or something like that. But anyways, this is what the thing is what I'm going to talk about. He's already starting stuff. Johnny Manziel was late for a lot of practices. Johnny Manziel was tough to... You couldn't get Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel was just Johnny Manziel. I don't know what was up with that guy. I don't know what. But when he went to the NFL, he didn't even, I don't know how to describe him. I feel like, and this is what I feel like, Baker Mayfield, I respect him very much. He's a very good quarterback. I just feel like he's going to be like a Johnny Manziel. He's cocky, and he's not going to do that well. I personally think this is more than possible for this to happen, and knowing that already this has happened, meaning already that he's already been late for something's kind of giving you a bad taste in your mouth of what he's going to be like. Just imagine, this is the first time. Just imagine more times and more times this happening. Just something to put in your mind and think about, as he goes on with his career. And this is why a lot of people think he's going to be like a Johnny Manziel, and this is perfect for a Johnny Manziel, because the Johnny Manziel was like this. He would be late for a practice, he wouldn't show up in games. I know this is one time, and it's a time where he hasn't even got drafted by somebody, but let's just say scouts that are looking at him. This is not a good influence. That's not good. That's not good. When scouts are looking at him, that's not good. You don't want that. When scouts are looking at him, you want somebody that's on time early. Something. I was listening yesterday on The Herd, right? Just something to kind of talk about. I listened yesterday to The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I really like that show. It's a very good show. I like many broadcasting shows. I think The Herd, Boomer and Carton. I'm not Boomer Carton. Boomer and Gio. Used to listen to Mike Francesa. Now he's not on the Fan anymore. I really like any broadcasting show that comes on. Undisputed. I don't really get to see him because I'm out at school. So I heard. So Reggie Bush, he was saying how he would always try to wake up early to get to the Saints facility. And he would get there by 6 o'clock, and you would already see Drew Brees in the film room, already looking at film. He would get there by 5 a.m. This is what's crazy. Players that end up being successful, just something to look at because, that's a quarterback who now will probably be a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, Drew Brees. Just something to think about because, you look at players who show up early, get stuff done, they end up being successful in their career. Now, of course, there's one time, it's not, his career hasn't even started. I'm sure he'll do good. But, this is just going to show you how he might be like a Johnny Manziel. This is just an example of him. So back to the Reggie Bush point. He was saying how, he'll get there. He will get there. He was saying how, he'll get there. And then, he'll see no cars in there besides Drew Brees. Drew Brees will have the only car in the parking line. None of the coaches will be there. No one would be there. He'll be at the little practice facility, open up the door with his key, go in. He'll be the only one there for an hour, and then Reggie Bush came in and blah, 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 so on. I think he tried to do that a few times, and, that just goes to show you, when you go arrive early, you get things done. You thrive and things like this, and, this is the thing about sports. You gotta put your maximum effort in. You gotta put your maximum effort in. Never give up. Always try. Always things like that. And that's why you never want to really be late because you're making a bad name for yourself. When you're late for anything. And now I understand being late is bad, but for my type of sports, if I'm late, it's okay. I usually am not late though. But if you're late or something, it's okay. But I just feel it's weird. It's weird how in major sports, in national sports. It's when you're late, you're like, take it off the team. It's just, I don't know why it is like that. Don't ask me, please don't. I don't know why it is like that. I guess it's just because, but yeah. So anyway, this is one time. He might, people might forget about this time. He might be early as all heck than every other practice ahead of his career, which will probably be in another 20, 30, 20 years from now. He'll be still ahead of all time. This is just one time, but it is not the greatest of times to be late for a practice, especially when you're pretty a good chance of getting drafted in the first round. You do not want anything like that to happen. So anyway. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how long will the Patriots' legacy last? How much longer, meaning like 5 years, 10 years, till the world explodes? How long? When we come back on the BSN Network.
Just a little bit with every one. Did you see it? Going forward a little bit. Florida State up by 11. Tumachi over Lammers. And there's rebound number 12 for Josh Dakota. Lammers has to wait for the strength to get underneath Tumachi, force him off his spot. That was a long hook shot. That would be impressive if Tumachi hit that. There's Tumachi, he's grabbing rebounds off the other team's misses. Topher had a dozen in the first half. He has not scored yet since the break. And Mann draws the foul on Haywood. He becomes the first Yellow Jacket with 4 personals. Alvarado,
so we're back here by the BSN Network. So now we're going to talk about just how long will the Patriots' legacy last. I don't want it to last too long. I don't think it will, honestly. I'm not just saying that just because I can't stand him. I really don't think it will last that much longer. 1, Brady's going to retire, and 2, it's just, just how it is. At no teams, sorry, drop my pen. No team's legacy lasts this long. If you were lucky enough and you got to live around, I wasn't alive back then, back in the 90s and the 80s. If you were alive back then, lucky, then you got to see the Patriots be awful. I never got to see that. Once I was born and things like that, Patriots were phenomenal. I think I said it before. I think I did, but if not, Patriots' only 2 losses in the Super Bowl came against the Giants. So, just a fact. So how long will the Patriots' legacy really last? And I'm going to talk about some things, this is also why I can't stand the Patriots, because everything goes their way. It's not that they goes their way, but they had 8 things that I think, 8 things stacked against them, meaning not going their way, during the game or before the game, knowing that it was going to happen. And, and how, and they still find ways to win. And, this is the real thing. If this keeps on continuing, really, how long will this legacy last? Now, personally, I said this before, the Patriots do not have a bright future. You might think I'm crazy, and the 49ers have a bright future, and the Bears, the Jets, teams like that, Bills have bright futures. You might think I'm crazy. It's because in 3 or 4 years, they're going to have quarterbacks, they're going to have players, and they're going to be good. 3 or 4 years, Tom Brady's going to be retired, Gronk's probably going to be gone, Belichick's going to be gone, that whole team's going to be gone, and they're going to be stuck with Brian Hoyer. That's why they don't have a bright future. This is really the thing. How long will this last? Is this their last championship, Super Bowl appearance? Will this be your last? I'm going to talk about this right now. So first off, really, just how long will it last? I think it's going to last for 2 or 3 more years. I think it's going to last 2 years, So not this year, it will last. Then next year, so this upcoming year. So after this year, next year, it will last. It will do again. Then the next year, I think at the end of next year, I think Tom Brady will announce retirement, and I will look back at this video and tell you that I said this. I don't know if you guys have that good of memory who watches these, but if you would remember this by then. So I think at the end of next year, no. So at the end of next year, they'll make another playoff push. At the end of next year, I feel like Tom Brady, and then next year's off season, I think Tom Brady's going to announce a retirement. I have a feeling, and then he's going to play that season, and then that's going to be it. I think Tom Brady plays 2 more seasons and done. He's out. Bye-bye. So I think the Patriots will last for 2 more years, and then it's going to be done. I think Tom Brady will announce retirement. Belichick will probably get... I don't know about Belichick getting fired. I don't know. There's a chance. I think why Belichick wants to stick around is he wants to prove that he can win even without Brady and without some of the superstars they have. Because a lot of people think it's Brady just carrying that team, which I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I think everybody thinks that because it is truly pretty much Brady. Brady is one of the best to ever live. He will be, and I think he will. He is the best quarterback ever to live. I think he will go down. He hasn't even retired yet. But yeah, so I think next off season he's going to announce retirement. I think what is he right now? Like 41, 42 years old. I think something like that. He's old, and by the next 2 years from now he's going to be like 44, which is old. Now I can imagine him doing 3 years, but my really gut instinct is 2 years. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 years, but still. So anyway, now we move to the Patriots. 8 things they had stacked up against them, and they still found a way to win the game. Let me run through those 8 things now. Number 1, they had no Gronk in the second half due to his concussion. He will be back for the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure. Concussions usually don't take in the NFL 2 weeks. It usually takes 1 week, and then you're okay. No running game. Stitches, no, that's number 2. Stitches in Brady's hand, number 3. Coordinators with new jobs, number 4. Late turnover by Dion Lewis, number 5. Had the ball 10 fewer mitts, 6. 7, 10-point fourth quarter defect. Difference. And 8. Weather was a non-factor in Foxborough, meaning the weather was non-factor, meaning it wasn't like below 0. It was actually, I think, like 46 degrees or something like that, which is unseasonably warm for Foxborough. Everybody was thinking that it was going to be tough for the Jaguars, but it was actually warm, I think. It was actually pretty warm. So, yeah. Which is meaning non-factor means that the Jaguars were okay. They didn't have a tough time running. They didn't have a tough time doing really anything. They were okay. So 8 things stacked against them. And this is why I hate them. Because they find ways to win games, even when they have 8 things stacked against them. Tom Brady could get injured. Their whole team could get injured. They would have to put in they would have to put in Brian Hoyer. They would find a way to win. This is why I can't stand the Patriots. I do not like teams that can do awful in a game. This is exactly what I can't stand. Jaguars played it just like the Falcons did. They played it where they passed the ball way too much. They wouldn't give their defense a break. So on, allows to a 24-20 loss. This is why I can't stand the Patriots. One, they're just so good, and I don't like good teams. I'm not a big fan. I like the underdogs. I always like to cheer for the underdogs. I don't pick the underdogs to win games, but I like to cheer for the underdogs. You can tell, Jets fans, they're always underdogs, no matter what team they're playing. Actually, this year, I don't know. No, I think they were... No, never mind. Browns were underdogs against the Jets. Not by much, though. Not by much. I don't think the Browns are always underdogs. Browns are underdogs to any team. And Patriots are never underdogs. They're always expected to win every game. They're always expected to win, which is what I can't stand either. Every single game, they're expected to win. Legit, every single game. they are expected to win. They might only have like a 55% chance to win, but still, they find ways to win, which I do not like because, And also, I'm just not a big Brady fan. Another reason why I can't stand the Patriots is I'm not a big Brady or Belichick fan. I mean, they're one of the two smartest people in the NFL, but still, can't stand them. The only player I like on that team is Rob Gronkowski. Just is. I don't know why. Just the only player I really like. So when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show here from the studio here by BSN Network. So we're back here by the BSN Network. So hope you enjoyed today's video. It was 2 parts. I think an hour. As I can see on my timer on my camera, it said it looks like 30 minutes. And my other one was 32 minutes, so about an hour. And by the time I'm done, an hour and 3 minutes. So glad. I always love to get over an hour streams because I always know that I put a lot of my thinking. And I obviously, maybe 3 or 4 minutes is taken up for my commercial breaks. But still, a lot of talking, which is what I like. So that's what I got for you guys today. Tomorrow we still have Kawhi Leonard traded, Knicks, Nets, and Rangers. Nets, Knicks, and Rangers, actually. I've got it in order on my list. So we got through 5 things today, 5 things we talked about, which is good. I definitely was hoping to get to all 9 of my things I have to talk about, but obviously I don't have time. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about making my streams maybe an hour and a half, just because then I could talk about more. Because an hour is not really that much. Really, an hour from 5 to 6 is really not that much. But what can you do about it? So anyway, alright. So thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.